These are wicked heavy. Holy moly. Guys, I did a thing. I did a bunch of things in July. Whoa. Hello world, Krista here with Books and Jams, and I have a book haul for you. I started out July thinking, I'm not going to get that many books this month. I have to move. I'm ending my job. Our kids' VBS at church is this month, and that is insane hours for me. I didn't think I would be buying books, and yet you've seen the pile, and there are a lot of them. So let me just get right into them. First one I have for you, I got from my friend's little free library at her house, and it's Shelter by Jung Yoon. This is a family drama written by an Own Voices South Korean author. I've heard a lot about this on the Booktubes, and it's a literary fiction. I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm going to try not to say that after every single book. The next one is my book of the month pick for July. It's called The Child by Fiona Barton. And this is a mystery thriller, which I always seem to do with book of the month. I tend to pick their mystery thriller option. And this is about at an excavation site, the bones of a child are discovered. And so there's a journalist trying to figure out the mystery of what happened. Kind of creepy, not sure what I'm going to think about it, but that was my choice this month. The next book I have here was from my library book sale. It's called That Part Was True by Deborah McKinley. This is about a woman in England who begins writing to an author in America, and they form a friendship, possibly a romance, I'm not sure, but they talk about food and life and love, and it just sounded super cute. The next one I have here is called The Sweetest Hallelujah, and this is a beautiful cover. This is a historical fiction set in Memphis during the 1950s, 1960s, so kind of at the middle of the civil rights movement, and it is about a black woman who is a single mom, but she discovers she has cancer, and a white woman who she forms this bond of friendship with over the love of her daughter as she tries to figure out what's going to happen to her daughter as she gets more and more ill. And this sounds like right up my alley. Then I have We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler, who also wrote the Jane Austen book club. I don't really know much about this other than it's a family drama, and I believe it's a movie. I don't know. I have another historical fiction that is set during World War II, which you guys know that I absolutely love. This is called I Am David by Anne Holm, and this is about a 12-year-old boy who has lived his entire life in a concentration camp. I believe this is a movie, which I've seen many, many years ago, but I've never read the book. Now I can. Just this week at my library, I picked up 2 classics. So I've never read A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I really like this copy of it. And also The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This is also very thin. It looks like a good, maybe a readathon book or something along the way. Shout out to all of you doing the Booktubeathon this week. Hope you're doing well. I'm sort of participating, but not officially. Next I have Sisterland by Curtis Sittenfeld, and she is the author of Eligible, which is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, which I read and enjoyed. This novel, however, is about 2 sisters, twin sisters, who have a falling out when they are in junior high age, I think, and then the story of them coming back together as adults and something brings them back together, and they have to work through all of the drama of their past. I picked up The Wednesday Sisters. Nope. This is like a companion novel to that. This is The Wednesday Daughters by Meg Waite Clayton. I believe this is about the daughters of the women who are involved in the book, who are the main characters in The Wednesday Sisters. So, which I also haven't read, but I do own. It's packed in a box somewhere. This is a book that I have read already, The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. This is a gorgeous book. Book about books, can't go wrong. So this is about a woman who was an author, but hires a ghostwriter to finish her story, I guess, if I remember correctly. I have another historical fiction here called In the Time of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. This book is set in the Dominican Republic in the 1960s, and this family of sisters were called the Butterflies, and I believe that they rebelled against the government or spoke out in some way against the government, and then 3 of them are found dead in a car crash at the bottom of a ravine, and so this is all about what really happened. The 4th one did survive or wasn't there or something, so she is able to still tell the story. I've never read a book, I don't think, that was set in the Dominican Republic, and I don't really know much about the politics of the DR either, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I have a couple nonfiction books here as well. One of them is Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, which is also a nice little book But I believe this is about him writing to his teenage or adolescent son, just about life and love and the world. And I heard that it's fantastic, so I am looking forward to reading this one. I have The Sociopath Next Door. This is a nonfiction about how there are way more sociopaths in the world than we are aware of, and one of them might be living next to you. Maybe they live next to me. Maybe I'll be scared of my neighbors after reading this book. We shall see. The third nonfiction that I have here is Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking, and I have seen this a lot on Booktube. I believe this is a memoir of a woman who was swimming with her husband or boating with her husband, and somehow he drowns. And so it's her walking through the grieving process. As I heard other people talking about this book, it was one that stood out to me as one that I would like to pick up and read at some point. So I came home from work one day, super surprised to find book mail that I was not expecting. And I got a note, very super kind note, and a book from another booktuber, Karen, over at Run Right Reads, has written a book of short stories, and she sent it to me. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It's called It's Complicated, Short Stories About Long Relationships by Karen Wright. So I will link her channel down below. I would highly recommend you going to check out her channel. She is a really great booktuber. I love that she plays around with the format of her videos, and I love the variety of books that she reads. And I had forgotten, I think I knew that she was an author, but I had forgotten that she was. And so this was a really pleasant surprise that I got in the mail this month. And July was my birthday, so thank you for the birthday present, Karen. I guess I'm past the point of getting a lot of gifts on my birthday, which is completely fine and not an expectation that I have in my life. But I do like to purchase a little extra for myself. So I do have 2 books here and a box from Book Outlet that I spent money on my actual birthday on myself. So it was really fun when they came this month. I have shown before others in the Penguin Vintage Classics edition of the Jane Austen novels, and I purchased one more in my collection. So now I have Emma and Sense and Sensibility, which I won from a giveaway from Elliot Brooks. Go check her out too. She's fantastic. And then I purchased Pride and Prejudice for myself this month. It's beautiful. I've been wanting to reread Pride and Prejudice, especially after watching Emily from Possibly Literate just recently posted a gush about Pride and Prejudice, and it has inspired me to pick it up soon. The other book that I purchased from Book Depository is The Long Way to a Small and Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and I have a number of friends on BookTube who gush about this book. It's a science fiction about a cast of characters, both human and alien, whose mission is to punch holes through the universe to make shortcuts or something along those lines. So the plot itself is not something that draws me in or makes me say, I want to read this book. But everyone who loves this book says that it's a fantastic character-driven book, and the characters are just gonna be ones that I fall in love with and all of that. I trust the people who have said that they love this book, and I'm gonna give it a go and see for myself. Then the moment we're all waiting for, the box from Book Outlet. And I'm super excited because I got some really good ones this time. Book Outlet was killing it. Let me show you what I got. The first one is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, and this I believe would be considered a modern classic, and Katie from Life Between Words absolutely loves this book, along with some other booktubers who I love. When I saw it on Book Outlet, I knew I had to grab it. So exciting. Jordan from J Bookish just recently read this book and its sequel, but this is Tiny Pretty Things by those people. I'm not even gonna try, because come on, look at that last name. What? This is a book about dancers, ballet dancers. Jordan just raved about it, and so it intrigued me enough to want to pick it up for myself. I read another book by this author. This is Hazel Gaynor, and this is The Girl from the Savoy. And I read The Girl Who Came Home, which was a historical fiction about the Titanic by Hazel Gaynor earlier this year, because it was recommended to me by Maria from Read, Create, Repeat Homeschool. And so when I saw another Hazel Gaynor book, I jumped at picking it up because I really liked the writing in the other one. I was captivated by the story, and I'm hoping that this historical fiction has a similar effect. This story, set in the Jazz Age in England in the 1920s, is about 2 different women who come from very different pasts but end up kind of in the same place. One of them, named Dolly, is a chambermaid at a hotel who kind of dreams of a better life in particular a life similar to her idol Loretta, who is Loretta May, who is a socialite, an elite class, kind of looks like she has it all, but she has a secret, and these two lives are going to come together. I don't think I've read very many books set in the 1920s, post World War I. So it's kind of as England is recovering from the war and starting to build a new life for themselves, and then about these two women. And it sounds like something I'm going to love, and I love her writing already. I'm hoping that I enjoy this one just as much as I enjoyed The Girl Who Came Home. We shall see. The next one I have is called The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner, and I think I first saw this on Reagan from Peru's Project. I don't really know much about it. I think it's a fantasy, kind of fairy tale-esque type story. I just remember when Reagan talked about it that it sounded like something that I would really enjoy. But that was a really long time ago. But when I saw it on Book Outlet, I remembered it. So I grabbed it. I'll have to let you know about that one. I tend to just pick up these Kenneth Apple books because of the covers. It's gorgeous. This one's called Star Climber. I don't know, I just really like it. It's another children's middle grade bit of a fantasy. It's about kind of like this world that's a combination of Earth and space, and there's in Paris this tower that you can shoot up into space from that tower. Yeah, so I never know much about his books, but I do know that whoever makes his covers does a fantastic job because they draw me right in. The next book I have is written by the author of The Shadow of the Wind, Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and this is The Prisoner of Heaven. I did really like The Shadow of the Wind, so whenever I see another book by him, I grab it. This is set in Barcelona in 1957, around Christmas time, so I will be saving this one for Christmas. This fella Daniel and his wife Bea are celebrating. They have a new son named Julian. But then a mysterious stranger shows up at their bookshop and tells them a secret that has the potential to destroy it all. I get all of my book recommendations from BookTube anymore. This one I heard about from Ariel Bassett's channel. It's called A Little Something Different, 14 Viewpoints and One Love Story. This is written by Sandy Hall, and I believe this is a love story, but we never hear from the point of view of the two involved in the romance. We hear from 14 other people, including a Starbucks barista. I think even a squirrel is one of the points of view. A creative writing teacher, a bus driver, all of these different points of view about their relationship and how it begins. So this just sounds like a little something different. Yes! I'm so excited about this one. Last but not least, I have Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay, and I just recently read Jane Eyre, and this is a retelling of Jane Eyre where Jane is not as meek and mild as she comes across in the original work. In this one, Jane is a serial killer. The first line is, "Reader, I murdered him." And that's how it begins. It has a lot of elements that are in Jane Eyre, but with this major twist. And I believe this was a lot of people's favorite book, either 2015 or 2014. I don't remember. It has a fantastically beautiful cover, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to read all of these. They're all going straight into boxes because I'm moving in just 2 days out of this apartment. There's so much to do between now and then. So they might make it into a later TBR later this year, but not in August because I already pulled out some that I'm keeping out for August that are not getting boxed up with the rest of my stuff. But for those of you who've just recently joined my channel, I apologize if it seems like I'm super inconsistent. I am usually a little bit more consistent in scheduling and uploading videos, but it's just been an insanely crazy July, and August doesn't look like it's going to get very much better, but very much better. Who talks like that? August doesn't look like it's going to be any better, but I'm going to do my best to continue to put videos up. Thank you for sticking around, and I would love to chat with you as always in the comments. Let me know if you've read any of these or a book that you picked up in July that you're really excited to read, and I'll chat with you down in the comments, and of course I'll be talking to you soon. Tomorrow's Friday 5 and I've got one planned, so be watching for another video tomorrow. Bye!